Date, place, and time has been disseminated as required under the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Clerk, please conduct the prayer and flag salute.
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. This evening, we have a presentation, the Mayor Kabunka, with a resolution for pancreatic cancer awareness. Mr. Mayor, you have a presentation? All right, okay.
Every year, the City Council recognizes the Veteran of the Year. And it's always an honor to read the proclamation and recognize a veteran that sacrificed so much for this country and for all of us. And this year, I have the honor of recognizing George Doran, Mary Ann Doran's husband, who is deceased, but served valiantly and gallantly in the Battle of the Bulge, where he was taken prisoner of war, and other campaigns in Europe. So at this time, I'd like to call up the Doran family and present this proclamation, which I'd like to read in his honor. Whereas George Doran was born in Lakewood, Ohio on March 9, 1926, and soon thereafter his family relocated to Newark, New Jersey. Whereas with the outbreak of World War II, 16-year-old George Doran's attempts to enlist in the Marine Corps and Navy were turned down due to his young age, and that he had two brothers, John and Michael, who were serving in the U.S. Armed Forces in the Pacific Island. Whereas at the age of 17, George Doran was accepted into the Army and began his boot camp training in June 1944. Whereas George Doran was sent overseas to serve in the 35th Division of the U.S. Third Army in the south of France, participating in the Battle of the Bulge, and engaged in combat in Rhineland and at Bastogne, Belgium. And whereas in the action that took place on January 4th, 1945, for over 5 hours, he was one of 3 survivors from his unit that was not killed or wounded and was taken prisoner by the Germans. And whereas George Doran suffered intolerable abuses and conditions during his interrogation and transportation to Stalag 4B, where he suffered from frostbite and trench foot. Whereas he was liberated by the Russian army in June of 1945 and received treatment for his various conditions for the next 2.5 years. Whereas for his service to his country, George Doran was awarded the following medals: Good Conduct, European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign, World War II Victory in Combat Infantryman Badge, and National Medal of Recognition. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the City of Linden do hereby recognize George Doran's sacrifices, valor, and dedication to the freedom of the citizens of the United States. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of the Council of the City of Linden and be appropriately presented to the family of George Doran. Signed, President of Council James D. Moore, Mayor Richard J. Gerbunka. Mary Ann, it's an honor to present this to you.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank Mayor Gabunka, Council President Jimmy Moore, and our elected officials for the opportunity to share with the residents of the city of Linden the honor of Veteran of the Year. If I may, I would like to just introduce the Veterans Council, and as I call the council, will you just please join me? Jeff Kennedy, American Legion, Post 102. Bob Sadowski, representing the Catholic War Vets, Post 497. Commander Tom Huxford, representing the Linden Marine League. Martin Danowski, Attachment 91. Representing the Polish Legion of American Veterans, Joe Wojciech, Commander. Representing the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 779, John Gradios. Representing the Veterans of Foreign War, Post 1397, Frank Matuszewski. And our honorary member of the Linden Council, Commander Bill Murphy, commander of the Linden High School ROTC. This month, November 11th, and Veterans Day, we honored all men and women who served our country, from the Revolutionary War to the War on Terror. We especially took time to honor and to remember all those veterans who made the supreme sacrifice for our nation. Tonight, we honored a veteran, someone who heard the call for his nation, enlisted in the service, and went on to fight a war to relieve and give freedom to millions of Europeans. So it was our honor to award this posthumously to George Doran. So we'd like to present her, Mary Ann, with the award. Commander Murphy, would you do us the honor?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Commander Bill Murphy, the Senior Naval Science Instructor at Linden High School. TV Land may be happy it didn't. On behalf of the Linden Veterans Council, 2011 Veteran of the Year posthumously presented to George Doran in recognition of his service to his country and community. George served in the U.S. Army with George Patton's 35th Division of the 3rd Army. His unit engaged in the Battle of the Bulge, the Rhineland, and in Bastogne, Belgium. On January 14, 1945, he survived a combat engagement with the German Army and was captured. Suffering cruel prisoner of war conditions in Germany, he was liberated by the Russian Army in June of 1945. George was hospitalized in France and the United States and returned home to be discharged. He earned the Bronze Star, POW Medal, Good Conduct, the European, African, and Middle Eastern Campaign Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Combat Infantryman Badge. George was a member of the New Jersey Ex-Prisoner of War's Chapter 1, Disabled American Veterans, the Linden Moose, and Union County Bowling Hall of Fame. George's legacy to the city of Linden school system was his effort in establishing the Linden High School Naval Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps Cadet Program. The Linden ROTC has distinguished itself in the Linden school system with major academic achievements and in the ROTC cadet regional and national competitions. In 2011, Linden High School's ROTC received the honor of being the largest program of its kind in the state and second largest in the Northeast. Today we have 380 ROTC cadets. Out of that group, last year, 7% of the school were 40% of the Honor Society. This unit has distinguished itself nationally, and it is one that we can be very, very proud of having. We would not have it without the work of George Doran and Mary Ann, of course. The boss.
I wanted to thank the Linden Council, of course, the Veterans Council, for choosing George. He was simply an ordinary man who rose during extraordinary times, but not unlike any of the others in this room who served during the World War II times. I had asked my daughters to try and attend this. One couldn't because of the Thanksgiving holiday, but I'm pleased to tell you in Linden why Carolyn Dorn Ballard isn't here tonight. She represented the United States in her world tour. She bowled internationally this past year all around the world. She ended up being in the top 3 in rankings. This past Thursday night in Las Vegas, Carolyn Dorn Ballard won the tournament and is now the #1 female bowler in the world for the United States. Thank you. So the flight plans got changed and she couldn't be here, but she's here in spirit. I brought my niece, Erin Passarelli. She's an officer in the Sheriff's Department for the Union County and is a United States Marine who served during the Desert Storm conflict. I just want to touch on a few things. I will not be long, but in living with an ex-prisoner of war. He blesses himself upon rising each morning and upon retiring each night, because that's something you do in a prisoner of war. The first thing purchased after we bought our home was a flagpole. Up every morning as he left for work and taken down every night at dusk. After about 10 years, he had a permanent pole installed, and the flag was raised every morning and lowered every night. Finally, after about 2 years of that, I said, for Christmas, I'm going to buy you the best Christmas present. I'm buying the light that we're going to put on the flag so that you don't have to raise and lower every day. It will be on forever. The ending of the phone messages at our house, if you ever called, and you would hear his voice, always ended with, and remember Pearl Harbor. Now, George didn't serve at Pearl Harbor, but George never got over the men that were lost at Pearl Harbor. Kathy once asked him what his favorite song was, and he said, the Star-Spangled Banner. She says, no, Dad, I mean a popular song. He said, Kathy, that is the most popular song. Some 15 years after she asked him that question, she represented the United States in the AMF World Cup in France. Upon placing in the top 3, she stood on the pedestal as her national anthem was played. She called her father that night and said, Dad, you were right. That's the most popular song, and it's my favorite now, too. I was the high profile, George was a low profile. George helped veterans in his quiet way. He took Ray Dandarsky, his friend in Winfield, for therapy for about 6 months until the VA arranged transportation. I met a Vietnam vet in Jersey Lanes one night who walked up to me and said, "You don't know me, but your husband paid my rent for 3 months when I came home until I got on my feet." We are certainly proud in our family of the George Doran ROT Scholarship, and I just learned this week that we've given out just about $20,000, my mouth is dry, since 2003 when we started awarding that. George loved each event with the ROTC, but more than that, he really loved watching them practice in the park. I once asked George how he got captured. He said we ran out of ammunition. I said, "How could that happen?" He said, "We were surrounded by enemy. The Allies could not get through the lines to bring in the supplies. And what did you do? We were in a foxhole. We waited. Didn't know whether they'd kill us or take us prisoner. They took him prisoner." I asked him to go to see Saving Private Ryan. I said, "Come see this, it'll be better on the big screen." He said, "No thanks, I've seen it." The closing of that shows the scene where Private Ryan looks at his wife. He's looking across the cemetery in France with all the gravestones, and he says, "Was I worth it?" So when I go to Arlington and I look at all those graves where George is lying, I ask the same question: were we worth it? I would think George Doran would say to you tonight, "You were all worth it." So I want to say God bless to all these veterans who gave of themselves. God bless Linden, and certainly God bless America. Thank you.
Good luck, Marianne, and thanks everybody for coming tonight.
May we have another presentation? Mary Ann Pulowski, Buscemi. I apologize.
We also have another proclamation or resolution, excuse me, to recognize Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. As everybody knows, cancer is a terrible disease, and pancreatic cancer is one of the worst forms of cancer that one could have. And I'd like to read this resolution by the governing body. Whereas in 2011, an estimated 44,030 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States, and 37,660 will die from the disease. Whereas pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers and is the fourth leading cause of cancer death in the United States. Whereas when symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, it is usually too late for an optimistic prognosis, and 74% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first year of their diagnosis, while 94% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years. Whereas of all the racial ethnic groups in the United States, African Americans have the highest incident rate of pancreatic cancer, between 34% and 70% higher than the other groups. And whereas approximately 1,140 deaths occur in New Jersey in 2011. Whereas there's no cure for pancreatic cancer and there has been no significant improvements in survival rates in the last 40 years. And whereas the federal government invests significantly less money in pancreatic cancer research than it does in any of the other leading cancer killers, and pancreatic cancer research constitutes only approximately 2% of the National Cancer Institute's federal research funding, a figure far too low given the severity of the disease, its mortality rate, and how little is known about how to arrest it. Whereas the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network and its affiliates in Linden support those patients currently battling pancreatic cancer, as well as those who have lost their lives to the disease and are committed to nothing less than a cure. Whereas the good health and well-being of the residents of Linden are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about pancreatic cancer and research into early detection, causes, and effective treatments. Now therefore be it resolved that Mayor and Council of the City of Linden do hereby designate the month of November 2011 as Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in Linden, New Jersey. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of the Council of the City of Linden, and appropriate copies be presented to the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. James D. Moore, President of Council. Richard J. Gerbunka, Mayor. On behalf of the City of Linden,
I won't be long. I just wrote a few things. First of all, I'd like to thank Mayor Gerbunka and the Town Council for allowing this to take place this evening. Pancreatic cancer touched my life. 2 years ago, my brother was 53 years old. He was diagnosed on June the 6th, 2 days after celebrating his 33rd wedding anniversary to his childhood sweetheart and also his daughter's 26th birthday, that he had pancreatic cancer. He was gone within 6 weeks. This cancer is very deadly. Not enough people are aware of it. I still deal with the loss every day. My mom is here with me. She lost her son. My brother was not only my brother, he was my best friend and a father to me, because I lost my father very young. We all went through the Linden school system. I no longer live in Linden, but I do come up quite often. This week, 4 times. I'm coming back up for my reunion this week. The Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is a nationwide network of people dedicated to working together to advance research, support patients, and create hope for those affected by pancreatic cancer. I brought some brochures, which I'm going to leave up here. You can read more about it. You could go online to pancan.org. I'm involved with it, and it has helped me through the healing process. My niece is also very involved. She puts events together. We did a walk up in Parsippany on November the 6th this year, and our goal was to raise $200,000. We raised over $260,000. And it's not all about the money, it's about making awareness, letting people know. And it's just one of the top 4 cancers, and you cannot find out ahead of time if you have it. Okay, it can be hereditary, it could be caused from being diabetic, there's other issues. So right now we're looking for a treatment plan, or some people do survive. I know a 6-year survivor, and that's a blessing, but unlike my brother. So I appreciate the time and for doing the proclamation, and I will leave the literature out here. And just so you know, purple is the color of pancreatic cancer. I see she had it on. I do wear purple throughout the month of November to make people aware of it. I wear my t-shirts. I live in Bricktown. We do a proclamation down there. People ask me about it, and it's just, if you could take the time to read, if you have time to volunteer, it may not have touched you, but it may have touched someone else. This year alone, I've met 6 people personally that I know. One of my classmates also just passed away from pancreatic this year. So, it's touched me in a lot of ways, and if anybody wants to get involved or find out any more information, feel free to take these. I'll leave them up here. Okay? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you, everyone. In event of emergency, the proper method of exiting the council chambers through the 3 doors in the rear of the room. Occupants should proceed down the staircase, out the front door, and move away from the area of the front steps. Good job. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, please come up and sign in the sheets in the front of the room. Please turn off all cell phones or place them on silent. If you must make a phone call, please leave the council chambers to do so. Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Purcell. Frazier.
Here.
Yemakaitis.
Here.
Sheehy.
Here.
Zadowski.
Here.
Cosby Hurling.
Here.
Armstead.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Koziel.
Here.
Colibus.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here. Mr. Clerk, would you read 5550, please?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration, shall be as amended as follows. Chapter 2, Administration, Article 1, General, Section 2-7, Administrative Organization, delete Section 2-7.2 in its entirety, add new 2-7.2, Committees of the City of Linden. We have a letter from the mayor regarding that ordinance. City of Linden Clerk, dear Mr. Bodick, I will not sign the ordinance 5550 to amend and revise Chapter 2, Section 2-7.1, creation of committees and appoint members. The splitting of the Finance and Personnel Committee into two separate functions would not be conductive to effective administration of our city because the overlapping responsibilities of these two functions would cause conflicts between both committees. I feel the standing committees as listed are sufficient. Sincerely, Richard J. Gabunka, Mayor of the City of Linden.
Thank you. Motion, please. Mr. Brown.
Thank you. This ordinance was put on, this is, I guess, the second time it's been vetoed. The purpose of this ordinance is to separate the personnel functions and the financial functions. I just want clarification from the mayor. I've asked through memo and haven't gotten any answer as far as what are the examples of overlapping or conflicts you feel by separating the two committees.
Thank you. We're here to vote on the veto. Motion, please.
Make the motion, Peter.
We have a second. Hearing no-
I make a motion for
We have a
ordinance
motion on the floor
5550.
from Councilwoman Cosby
Second.
Hurd. Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
No.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
No.
Zadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
No.
Brown.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
No. Ordinance on,
The ordinance received 7 affirmative votes, 1 short of the vote needed. It failed the override.
thank you. Ordinance on hearing. This is the date and time established for public hearings on the ordinance on hearing. 5551, Mr. Clerk.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, shall be amended as follows. 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations. 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Add 425 Ainsworth Street, 1 spot. 1110 Bauer Street, 1 spot. 622 East Curtis Street, 1 spot. 2016 Orchard Terrace, 1 spot. 413 Richford Terrace, 1 spot. Delete 335 Ashton Avenue, 1 space. 737 Keep Street, 1 space.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
I seek a motion for ordinance 55-51. Seek a second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Zadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5552.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration, Article 4, Section 2-27, Department of Public Property and Community Services, Division of Public Works, Bureau of Sewers. Amend 2-27.3E, Bureau of Sewers. Add new 2-27.3.1, fee created as follows. If a homeowner requests the Bureau of Sewers more than once in a 30-day period, said fee shall be waived.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Council President, I'd like to close the hearing on ordinance 5552 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Kozio.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5553.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-42, Parking Fines, 7-42.1, Fines established as follows. Add to Section 7-42.1, Fines established as follows. Emergency no parking, $80. Stopping or standing prohibited at all times, $40. Stopping or standing prohibited during certain hours, $40. Parking time limited certain streets, $40. Metered spot using beyond maximum time limit, $40. Private property, parking without owner's permit, $40. Parking prohibited during certain hours on certain streets, $40. No parking during school hours, $40. Parking on one-way streets, wrong side, $40. Bus stops, $40. Taxi stands, $40. Permit parking in municipal lots, $40.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move the hearing be closed and ordinance 5553 be adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Kozio.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. The consent agenda. All items listed with asterisks are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless the council member or citizen so request, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Does anyone wish to remove an item from 1 to 9? On my right. In the center. On the left. Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Motion to move consent agenda items 1 through 9. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Kozio.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. We'll move into committee reports. Mr. Purcell?
I'll make it brief. I'd like to congratulate the re-elected council members and Councilman-elect Adam Kaczynski. Good luck to all. Like, before it comes to personnel and finance, we have, what, 6 recruits back there? I don't know where you threw the other one in to the left of Matt, but congratulations to all of you, and good luck. And I wish everybody a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. End the report.
Thank you. Mr. Frazier?
Thank you, Mr. President. My report is as follows. As the liaison with the Environmental Commission, just to let you know, we did have an Environmental Commission this past month, early part of it, and we had ANJEC there, which is the Association in New Jersey environmental commissioners, and they again gave an additional training class to all the commissioners, which was, I think, very, very effective. So I can very proud to say that all of our commissioners are totally up to date with regards to environmental training as it the prerequisite for our city. One other item, I'm also the chair for the Hawkeye Sanctuary, which is operates effectively with the Linden landfill. And this past month, we had a meeting with the representative from the DEP regarding public access. As you know, we have a walkway that is almost finished, unfortunately, with the severe weather we have, and just look at this week, it's been a washout. We haven't been able to finish it. It'll be over 1 mile of walkway starting out at Range Road, which intersects Lower Road. And we have to have a public access approval from the state of New Jersey. Unfortunately, nothing is simple, so we're in the process right now of digesting the information that we need, and at the same time getting together to submit the necessary requirement for public access. We feel this will be done as, again, I tell you, the walkway is great. The mayor has already taken a walk, and he was quite amazed at how this walkway has turned out with its so-called planking, and it's really great. It's elevated over wetlands. It has stations there where you could determine the type of plants, animals, and so forth. And yes, we do have wild turkeys, deer, red-tailed fox, and many, many species of birds. So those who would like to become acquainted, and believe it's only about 4 miles from where we sit right now, to see a urban site such as this. So I'm going to be very, very proud of that, and I think we all should be when it's completed. At the same time, too, with regards to the 9th Ward, we've just completed the paving from Burlant Terrace to Raritan Road, which encounters Ferber Avenue. And it's a real fine job. It's completed, and I'm sure that the residents, as well as those who traffic over it, will be very, very proud of it. The other item, too, I want to compliment the Department of Public Works. As you know, after that storm, we've had, particularly the so-called freak snowstorm, we've had numerous tree branches that have come down. There's still a few that are hanging up there. And Public Works has taken care of the majority of these. There's still some that have to come out, and it's unfortunate not all the residents put them out at the same time, but this is the way it is. But we will get to them. And at the same time, too, the leaves in the 9th Ward will be picked up properly. Again, we've had a wet week, so it's rather difficult to complete all the items. The other item I do want to mention, and I think this is very, very important to my residents in the 9th Ward, as well as all the constituents in the city of Linden. In the past, I've sent out a newsletter. Right now, it becomes very cumbersome and extremely expensive, and quite frankly, I think at this point I've got to get with the new electronic age. So what I have done, invested my own funds into creating a website. This will be my own personal website, and it will be available to everyone. I will do my very, very best to keep you all up to date as to what is going on. And really what it is, it's the domain is councilmanrobertfraser.com. Very simple, councilmanrobertfraser.com. I should have it up and running by the first week of December. Again, What it is, it's my personal website. It's intended to give you all the information, as much as I know, in council, and particularly what's going on within the city and most effectively within our ward. At this particular time, I too, as my colleague sitting on my right had said, I want to congratulate my colleagues on the board who were successful in the election. I also want to congratulate the Councilman-elect Adam Kaczynski. We welcome you, Adam, and wish you the best. At the same time, I wish my colleague, Rich Pichel, the very, very best in his future endeavor. And as indicated, I see 6 recruit candidates out there. Gentlemen, we wish you all the best, too. You're going to enter, I think, one of the finer municipal police departments in Union County, and if not so, in the state of New Jersey. The very best to you. That concludes my report, and I thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Councilman Frazier. Councilwoman Yamakaitis.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the Fire Committee, the Fire Prevention Bureau collected a total of $6,689.08 for the month of October 2011. During the month of October, the Linden Fire Department responded to 668 calls for assistance, including 13 fires, 160 EMS calls, and 170 first responder calls. And I, too, would like to congratulate ahead of time the 6 recruits that are sitting in the back. I can speak on behalf of my ward. We welcome you, especially with what I was about to mention. Again, several buildings on the Route 1 and 9 corridor were tagged with graffiti again. 3 weeks ago, it was removed by the homeowners and business owners. We're asking that residents please keep your eyes open. We're getting reports that this occurred during the night between 1:30 to 3:30 a.m. It's very disheartening for the homeowners and businesses to have this reoccurring. So I've asked the police department to try to beef up, patrol in the area, to keep an eye out, to try to apprehend these individuals. And I'd also like to make mention also, we're finishing up the last remnants of picking up from the snowstorm. Anybody, please call Public Works if you have any branches that need to be taken out. And please get your leaves out. Bags are at the curb. I have received phone calls asking about the leaf program. You can put leaves at the curb. So we're asking, we're coming to the end of the road with the leaf season, so please get them out. And just finally, I'd like to mention that Santa Claus will be arriving in the 8th Ward on Saturday, December 3rd. Our annual visit with Santa will take place at the 8th Ward Community Center on Bedell Place between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. So for more information, please give me a call at 925-2309 or visit my Facebook page, which is Councilwoman Michelle Yamakaitis. Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Yamakaitis. Mr. Councilman Sheehy.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to first start by thanking the vets. I'm a very lucky man. I get to meet a lot of people in the city of Linden, and I spent some time with George Doran. And that's one proud American. It was his daughters, his country, and the city of Linden. George Doran and Mrs. Doran tried helping me. There's 3 guys that left for World War II in the 7th Ward, the Kubota brothers. And they were instrumental in trying to get 7th Ward Park named after the Kubota brothers. But there is an ordinance in Linden where you can't name parks after vets anymore, only politicians. So someday I hope to change that, but I'll never forget the Kubota brothers. And Mr. Dorn, I remember the day when they left for Arlington Cemetery. It's an honor to have known them. And I'd like to congratulate those policemen. It's a fine group we got back there, men. Looks like we got some strong, healthy young men there. We're going to need you. Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody and anybody that ran for election. It takes a certain person to step up for this job. It's a thankless, worthless job, and the people that did it and the people that are doing it, I have the utmost respect for them. Believe you me. And I don't want to bore you a bit, but I got a list of names I need to read for the Halloween parade. And when I'm done, I'm going to explain why I'm going to read this list of names. And I'm terrible with pronouncing names, but I'd like to thank Carl Pereira and his wife Audrey. They have been on the Halloween committee since it started, and what a wonderful job they do. We can't do it without these people. Tom Walker, Paul Curley, Nancy, here's a name for you, Diziznik, the Slater brothers, Chuck Slater and Gene Slater. Actually, Chuck was an employee. He's no longer an employee in Linden, but he actually came back to work on this parade. Mark McDonald, Rosemary Chingari, Judy Miller, Linda Catrone. This lady came to the committee for the first time, and she never missed a meeting, and I guarantee she's going to be instrumental in this parade for years to come, because we are going to have the parade every year from now on. Nick Nigro, Joe Lindsay, Lacey Lovinsky, and the mayor helped out a lot. We had a lot of help from the council here. Councilwoman Yamakaitis helped us with the Polish parade. She brought her contingency over here to help us. That was a big help. Mr. Koziel was super instrumental with this, and with the 150th birthday, Mr. Koziel and Lauren Gates helped out. And Mrs. Koziel did an excellent job coordinating with the schools and for this parade to happen. Thank you, Kelly. Dr. Tomazik helped us a lot, made life easy for us to coordinate this. Michael Walters, Stephen Rosner, Christine Rojas, Christine Hudak, Wayne Oshinsky, Steve, something Z, ski on it, Lauren Yates, Mike Havlicek, Donna Van Pell, Barbara Brady, Gina Campione. All right. And Steve Zielinski. And I would really like to thank the PTAs. The PTAs did an excellent job this year. Every school participated. Now, I'd like to thank the vendors that participated. I don't want to bore you, but there's a reason for this. I'd like to thank Kevin from S&B Diagnostics for supplying convertibles, Angelo Berardi and his wife supplying 2 convertibles. I'd like to thank the Villani Bus Company. The Villani Bus Company really helped us out. They gave us a great price on going to pick up the bands. The Woodbridge Band and even a band from Newark, they gave us a price that was unbeatable. And the Villanis put 2 buses in the parade, and they're outstanding Linden people. I'd like to thank Gabe's Towing, Rob Kabbalah from Kabbalah's Towing. I'd like to thank Courtney Brose from JTG. And I would like to thank Union County. The only funds that were given to us were from Mrs. Roman gave us a check, and the Union County gave us a check. Why I'm saying this and boring you with this is, in years past, this parade has cost us $30,000 to $40,000. This year we put this parade on, I guarantee less than $3,000. We don't have the total yet, but I would say it's less than $2,000 that we put this parade on, and in years past, this parade was budgeted for $30,000, $40,000. And I have a couple names that I want to read off this list now. These people have volunteered for every event that I've been involved with. They've probably been involved in more events than this, but between the street fair, project graduation, the Halloween parade, I don't even know if many people know Tom Solsky, but Tom Solsky shows up at every event that we have. Tom represents the Moose Club, and he shows up and helps, and he participated. Tom will do anything from emptying garbage to whatever you need to do. That's the type of man he is. Linda Thorne shows up at every event in this town. Every event. Nora Mislin. Every event in this town, Nora shows up and does whatever needs to be done. And the Shoebacks. Sue Shoeback and Mike Shoeback have been involved in everything. You name it in this town, they show up. And they're not employees of this town, they're just good neighbors. And if we had more of the people like the Shoebacks, we could really put on some events. Most of these events, believe you me, we need volunteers and we want volunteers, are basically put on by the same people over and over are helping out with these events, with the Mayor's Youth Commission and the Cultural Committee. It's the same people. Please, if you can volunteer your time, I don't care if it's a half hour, I don't care if it's 15 minutes, please sign up, because we put on some great events in this town. We're going to be having the Christmas tree lighting. That's all done by volunteers, and I guarantee you, these people that I mentioned, they will be there. And we can use more volunteers. Please come help out, and I do appreciate it, and I know who's who around here, and who's helping out, and who's not, and who's complaining. But please, thank you very much. From the bottom of my heart, and from everybody in this town, anybody that helped out on that Halloween committee, I appreciate what you did. Thank you, sir. End of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehy, and thank you for recognizing those people. Councilman Sadowski.
Thank you, Council President. My report is real short after Jack's. First, I would like to congratulate the following people for winning their elections. Derek Armstead in the 4th Ward, Michelle Yamakaitis in the 8th Ward, Adam Kaczynski in the 10th Ward. I would like to congratulate them and look forward to working with them. Rich Pichelle, I hate to see you go, but we'll stay in contact.
We will.
Yeah, we will, okay. I just want to wish incoming policemen the best. I'm sure you will help the city quite a bit. So, again, congratulations. I would just, real quickly, since I was reelected, I just want to thank the people who voted for me, or just the people who came out to vote. I don't care who you voted for, as long as you came out to vote. If you didn't come out to vote, you really can't complain. You have to vote. So, people in the 6th Ward, thank you very much. The DPW, again, is doing a fine job. They are still coming around getting the branches. I know in the 6th Ward, they should be coming around pretty soon to collect the leaves, because I drive through and there's bagged leaves and there's leaves in the street and it's piling up, so our turn will come when they will collect it. The other thing is, it's near the holiday season. I want to thank the police, because I see much more police presence in the 6th Ward. Patrol cars come around, they stop, they talk to people, and to me, this is a deterrent for anyone. So, police department, thank you very much. With the holidays coming up, the same thing. I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, a safe one, but please, be careful. Watch what's out there. That ends my report.
Thank you, Councilman Sadowski. Councilwoman Cosby Hurley.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I want to just say our veterans are gone, but I do still thank them for all of their service. Some updates on what has happened since our last meeting in October. We had a community meeting. We didn't get any new concerns from the neighbors. We did get the police department, and they came out and they gave us the raids online. So I thank the police department. I'd like to thank Deborah Marshall from the Yvonne McCalla Foundation. Thank you to all of my neighbors who did come out. And we're going to have a meeting January 18th. If that date is approved, it will be a Wednesday at 7 p.m., the usual location, Linden Multipurpose Center. The Local Assistance Board had a meeting, and I actually phoned into the meeting because I wasn't able to physically be there. There's not anything new to report. The program is still going forward, and they are changing financial institutions. It should not have too many issues with the transfers and how the board is assisting the residents of Linden. So they're going to look forward to continuing to service everyone, even while they are changing financial institutions. Other than that, the program has no complaints. The Linden Housing Authority had their meeting, and I actually participated in the drawing, the raffle drawing, which was held early this month for Section 8. There were more than 7,000 applications for the Section 8 voucher, which is, 300 slots that were available, and it's just to be on the waiting list. So there were a lot of people who applied. Not everyone was from Linden, and the list, those people who were actually pulled out of the raffle were notified. Everybody else was destroyed. Please do not call the Housing Authority and ask if your name is on the list. If you weren't notified, you are not on the list. Also, from the Housing Authority, I did speak with the director at the drawing and a little bit after the drawing, a couple of days later, and we were talking, and she mentioned that they were going to request a continuance of, I guess you can say, an abatement of the taxes, and that is on the agenda for tonight. If anybody has any questions, we're going to support that for the Housing Authority so they can continue with the valuable programs for the low-income, disabled, and senior residents in my ward over there on Dill Avenue. Also on Dill Avenue, please, the crosswalk has been painted. It's kind of thin because this weather does not allow for the heavy painting. Please proceed with caution on Dill Avenue. There's a crosswalk now right at IOZ Park, and you have to be careful because senior citizens and disabled walk a little bit slower, and then we have children crossing over when they're leaving from school, and a lot of children do walk in groups on their way home from school. I'd like to give kudos to the Halloween Parade Committee. Mr. Sheehy, no one can say it any better than you did with all that detail. The parade was great, so kudos to the committee and everyone who participated. Kudos to See and Learn Foundation for the walkathon. It was a great event to promote literacy for children in the city of Linden. I'd like to thank Leo Blackshear and his Charles Street community, and he also has a church with no walls, is what he calls it. And they do an annual Thanksgiving event, which was held this weekend. It's totally free. People are, invited to come. It was a great event. I know that Councilman Armstead was there this week, and a lot of other people were there. Awesome event. It's a Thanksgiving event, and it's an annual event. So good job to the Blackshears for that, as usual. In our ward, please, please, please make sure that you continue to make the phone calls to the police department, because we do have a higher volume recently of car theft and break-ins in our ward. So make sure that if you see someone suspicious and the person can walk up and down the block 2 or 3 times, they could be, casing a car or someone's home. So please continue to call dispatch 908-474-8500. I'm almost finished. I attended a League of Municipalities seminar in October. It was all about negotiations. I also went to the League of Municipalities convention. Tonight I supported the override of the mayor's veto, which we weren't unable to do. However, it is my opinion, and the reason I support it is because there are a lot of things that we have been working on outside of the committee that get to the committee or the committee does not entertain, and some of those things take longer to come to fruition. So it's my opinion that the committee is separate from finance. If you're focusing on personnel, we probably would have greater success. So I'm waiting from the personnel committee, personnel and finance, for the employee appraisals, which I actually sat and worked with the labor relations specialist and the supervisor of that department, and we went over it together. And we actually came up with a strong document, which was presented to committee, but the committee has not responded for that. And it is something that would be a document for the management to hold the employees accountable, which currently does not exist in the city of Linden. So I'm waiting for that. I'm still waiting for a regular distribution of the seasonal list. Although I've been told that it's the same people over and over, I'd still like to see who those people are on a regular basis. And the background checks, which we're told last night, are supposed to start happening for everyone who works with children and in the recreation department. So I'm just waiting for those to begin. We also should, in my opinion, establish social media policies and, you know, start working on best practices, look around other municipalities and try and incorporate other things that would make our workforce more efficient. So personnel being separate from finance would probably work better in that regard. Please save the date, November 29th, at the Linden Family Success Center, which is housed at the John Street Recreation Center. There will be a workshop on how you can be more hireable. If you are underemployed, if you are unemployed, plan to attend. It's from 5 p.m. until 6:30 p.m. at 1025 John Street. And this is just going to give you tips from a former HR manager on ways that you can improve, you know, your interviewing skills and your resume if you want to change careers, things that, you know, might be helpful. November 29th, 5 p.m. Santa will visit the 5th Ward as he does every other year. He's going to come December 18th at 11 a.m., and that's going to be 11 to 1 at the Linden Multipurpose Center. Children are encouraged to come and bring a camera because they can take photos with Santa. Best of luck to the potential candidates. I wish you all success in the academy, provided that you guys are successful with everything, which hopefully you will be, and I'm confident you will be. And my neighbor Michael is out there, so good luck to you. And before I close, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and happy birthday to Derek, my husband. That is my report.
Thank you. Councilman Armstead?
Yes, Mr. President. I have the following reports. From the City Clerk's Licensing Division, I'm submitting this monthly report for the month of October 2011. This office issued 103 miscellaneous licenses and collected $2,685. That's from Joan Turbert. I'm requesting the action on the following personnel and finance actions. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting this. Part of our new policy is that we are going to ask the public if they have any questions on the Personal and Finance Committee report. If there's anyone in the public who'd like to have a question on the Personal and Finance report, you may do so now. A copy should be in the at the front of the dais. Seeing none, approval is requested for the following personal and finance actions. Number one, in the Division of Public Works, the change of title for Michael Kratzer, truck driver Tier 2, to fill the vacancy created by the untimely passing of Richard Kovac to sanitation truck driver Tier 2 at an hourly rate of $20.52 effective November 23, 2011. Number two, in the Division of Public Works, the approval of a lateral title change for Glenn Larson from maintenance repair Tier 1 to truck driver Tier 1 with no change in his hourly rate of $29.13 effective November 23, 2011 to fill the vacancy created by Mr. Kratzer. Number three, in the Division of Public Works, the approval of a paid FMLA leave of absence for Ronald Bolderos from September 19, 2011 to October 28, 2011. Number four, in the Finance Department, the approval of an unpaid leave of absence for Alexis Zach from a permanent civil service title of accounting assistant for the year 2012. Number five, in the City Clerk's office, the approval of an unpaid leave of absence for Joseph Bodek from his permanent civil service title to purchasing agent for the year 2012. Number six, in the City Clerk's office, the approval of a return check fee to be waived due to the extraordinary circumstances concerning a stolen personal checkbook. The report is on file in the City Clerk's office. Number seven, in the Rent Levying Board, the acceptance of the resignation of Sonia Wilson as Board Secretary effective December 31st, 2011. Number 8, personnel required to carry out the Department of Public Property and Community Service seasonal programs. The list is on file in the Treasurer's Office. Number 9, the payment of bills totaling $1,402,383.98. The bills have been signed by the Mayor, Council President, and Finance Chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the Clerk's Office. Number 10, we are in receipt of the investments made by the City Treasurer for the month of October at a rate of 0.75%. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
No on 4, 8, 9, yes on the rest.
Frazier.
Yes on all.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Zadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
No on 4, 5, 8, yes to the others.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes on all except number 9. Number 9, no.
Koziel.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
I have an additional resolution. Unfortunately, I just received this evening with regards to the hiring of 6 new police officers. I'm going to go ahead and read it and request that someone's a second council approve it. Whereas there's a need for the city to hire 6 police officers, and whereas the city has authorized 6 potential police officer candidates to be interviewed and immediately and psychologically evaluated pending said candidates' enrollment into the Union County Police Academy. Now therefore be resolved that the city, effective December 26, 2011, appoint the following candidates as police officers for the city of Linden, subject to their completion of the medical and psychological examinations. The candidates are Matthew Wisnowski of Linden, New Jersey, Michael P. Sistero of Linden, New Jersey, Christian J. Ramirez of Linden, New Jersey, Wojtek F. Diodos of Linden, New Jersey, Brian L. Gee of Linden, New Jersey, and John M. Halkias of Linden, New Jersey. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Zadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
The following licenses, permits, and transcripts issued in the city clerk's office during the month of October 2011 and fees received have been turned over to the municipal treasurer of the city of Linden. They are as follows: 95 birth, death, and marriage transcripts, city revenue of $1,365. There were 14 marriage licenses for $42, with a state revenue of $350. There were 10 miscellaneous revenue items for $2.60, 270 EDRS vital statistics for $3,720, with a total of 389 total transactions, a total of $5,479.60. I'd like to also at this time congratulate the newly elected recruits to our police department and welcome them aboard and let them know that they're going to be joining one of the finest police departments, not only in the county, but the state. I'd like you all to stand for just a few minutes so the public can get a look at you. And once again, congratulations. I'd like to also congratulate the newly elected council member, Adam Kaczynski. I'd like to congratulate 8th Ward Councilwoman Michelle Yamakaitis on her reelection, 6th Ward Councilperson Bob Sadowski on his reelection, and I'd like to congratulate Adam Kaczynski on his election to 10th Ward Council. I'd also like to congratulate Diane Wilverding, who ran in the 6th Ward, who did not win, But the moment you put your hat in the ring and you run for an office such as this, you become an instant winner. To put your name on the line is tremendous. I mean, there's a lot of pressure that goes with this job. There's a lot of pressure with running as a candidate, and there's a lot of criticism associated with it. I'd also like to congratulate my colleague in the 10th Ward, Rich Buchel, who he did not win, but Rich, by virtue of being a council person in Linden, you are a winner. No one knows the type of scrutiny and criticism that council people have to endure. You're out there making decisions sometimes, and they're tough decisions. And for every decision you make, you can feel it's the right decision, but someone thinks it's the wrong decision. So just being a part of this process, to me, is one of the greatest things, one of the greatest experiences that you could ever have in your life, and at least for me it has been. So again, Rich, I congratulate you, and I wish you well as you move on into your other endeavors. Last but not least, I'm proud to announce that the Linden Tigers Pop Warner Midget Cheerleading placed first in the Northern New Jersey cheer competition and are the regional champions from New Jersey that will be representing New Jersey at the Nationals will be held in Florida December 9th. And again, I'd like to congratulate them. We will be having a fundraiser at 516 Carnegie Street this Saturday, November 26th, from 12 o'clock until 7 p.m. We'll be selling chicken and fish dinners and chicken and fish sandwiches. If you feel like you would like to make a donation, you can also stop by. Again, the address is 516 Carnegie Street. Checks can be written out to Linden Tigers, Inc. Now, people, this is huge. This is the first time that one of our cheerleading squads has made it to nationals. We've began raising money a few weeks ago, and we were able to secure a significant amount of money for the lodging for these girls, and this is within a week and a half that we've done this. So our next hurdle that we must clear is to make sure that we have enough money to send these girls. It is so important, and we cannot let them down. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them, and it's the first time, again, that Linden, New Jersey, right, little old Linden, is going to be representing New Jersey in a finals down in Florida. And I would ask that if your friends and your families have an opportunity to please stop by Saturday and buy a sandwich or a dinner, or just make a contribution. And again, that can be made to Linden Tigers, Inc., and we'll be at 516 Carnegie Street from 12 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. I'd also, at this time, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention and thank our Director of Public Property, Al McDonald, who, when these girls are trying to find time to practice and the weather's inclement, and they'll give me a call, and I say, head over to the PAL building. I'll give Mr. McDonald a call, and Mr. McDonald kind of clears the way for us so these girls can practice, because one of the things that has enabled these girls to set themselves apart and to be more competitive was access to that PAL building, which they never had until about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's incredible the improvement that these girls have, that they've had since we've had access to that building. So I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Mr. McDonald. And I have to thank also the kids who are in that building. When we walk in there and say, hey guys, no basketball tonight, and they all just clear the court, and they make no bones about it, and they say, hey, we want them to win too. And they just clear the court and let the girls have the gymnasium to practice. And this would not be possible if people in this town didn't behave like family. And I commend them for them not being unselfish, for them being unselfish and allowing those girls to have that gym with no notice. So I'd also like to thank the council members, those of you who supported that $15,000, a small amount of money that we give to the organization, Linden Tigers. It is so critical that this organization get off to a good start every year. And that $15,000 is huge for them. I mean, it allows them to hit the ground running every season. So we thank this governing body And we thank the people in this town for supporting our girls, and we look forward to seeing all of you guys on Saturday. That's November 26th, from 12 o'clock to 7 p.m. Again, if you don't want to buy dinner, they'll be more than welcome, we'll more than welcome a contribution to Linden Tigers, Inc. And that concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Armstead. Councilman Brown.
Thank you. First, I want to thank the new recruits to police officers. Thank you for wanting to come to Linden, help out. I believe, if not most, all you guys live in Linden, so it's glad to see more Linden police officers who live at home and helping out in the community. I also want to congratulate all the people who who either won or unfortunately didn't win. Again, keep trying if you didn't win your first time. And for the members who won, it's a pleasure seeing you guys back here as well. Other than that, I mean, I just want to mention that one thing we haven't been talking about lately, and I've been working on for the last couple of weeks, looking over, is the budget and for next year. I'm just hoping in the next couple of weeks we talk about this a little bit more. I've talked to a few residents. Yes, property taxes, it's hurting a lot of people. My fear is next year it's going to become another big issue. I've made a suggestion to the council president last night that hopefully next year we do things a little bit differently. One of the things I would like to see is residents participate in the budget process more, and we hold conference meetings just in regards to the budget. When I look at the numbers, and I think this is important for residents to know, and we all need to become more aware of what's going on in town here. In the last 10 years, from 2001 to 2011 last year, property taxes increased in Linden by 88%. I think we don't talk about that enough, property taxes. And we see the effects of it in town with houses being put up, on people being forced to leave Linden because they can't pay their property taxes. So other than that, for the next couple of weeks, that's going to be my goal, to see what we can do to make Linden more affordable, what we can do to stabilize property taxes. And I ask that the members on council work with me and we work together in stabilizing property taxes, because that's what's the most important issue right now in Linden, in my opinion. End of report.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. Councilman Cosio.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to follow up on some of the remarks made by Councilman Brown. It's true. In the past couple of weeks and months, we've talked about everything from parking to leaves to things that are important, certainly are important issues in town, but nothing more important than our upcoming budget process for next year, which is going to be probably the most significant budget process we've had in many, many years. And we have some tough decisions to make, but we all have to get together. In fact, a recommendation was made yesterday about some meetings, conference meetings of council as a whole, to brainstorm, if you will. You may remember there was a community meeting here in City Hall months ago. Having input from the public. We need to do that. We need to do it more often. We need to get ideas on the table and consider everything this year. Second ward-related items: the West Elizabeth Avenue Flood Control Project, which is Ordinance 2011-362, allows for the awarding of the fourth and final phase of the flood project. The low bid from Tomco Construction is the amount of $2,386,000, and is 38.4% below the engineer's estimate for the job. Capital funds would be used for the project. A report from C&S Engineers, our consultant, recommended the award be made to Tomco, and the New Jersey DEP has also approved the award. Excavation work continues at the former Hearst Celanese property on West Blanky Street, where new redevelopment will transform the site into, once again, productive site generating ratables for Linden. The Public Properties Department has completed some road striping where markings have faded. Really appreciate that. DeWitt Street, which really needed it, was recently restriped from St. George's Avenue to West Blanky Street. And hopefully additional signs and traffic markings throughout the ward, which are in need of repair, will get addressed soon. A report from Sergeant Pobolski in our Traffic Bureau there was a recommendation that permit parking in the Second Ward We have additional permit parking, and it has been initiated. Reports also show that it's now clear that commuters are just moving farther away rather than pay the fee to park at the train station. So we'll continue to monitor the parking, which is very prevalent, and oftentimes homeowners on West Price and West Blanky and some of the cross streets, Ainsworth and Minor, can't find a place to park in front of their homes because of commuters. But we'll keep an eye on that. Second Ward streets, sewers, and catch basins will receive periodic maintenance after the rain event, the hurricane event, and of course the snow event. Any heavy rains, we have some issues in the Second Ward, in fact all the wards, where our catch basins, especially with the new grates on them, doesn't allow the leaves or debris in, but what it does is it helps collect it in the catch basin, and it does need additional maintenance. But we're on a rotating schedule for that, ward by ward, so we'll make sure that's taken care of. City-related items. The SID Committee, the Special Improvement District Committee, met on September 27th and October 25th. Several new business owners were in attendance, and along with longer established members, we discussed efforts and the direction of the committee has taken in the past and explored some new directions where the committee can benefit the downtown business districts. Topics of urgency included a SID-specific website development. They used to do a lot of direct mail in the past, but with a website, people from out of town and also in town can go to a website, scroll over an interactive map of our downtown area, see where the stores are, download coupons, etc. We also talked about the condition of our municipal buildings, parking areas, and our streetscape, which needs desperate cleaning and upgrading, traffic and ordinance enforcement, parking meters and collections, new options for that, the positioning of new trash receptacles, the holiday light display, which is already up, but I guess will not be turned on until, of course, December 2nd, and holiday advertisements in local publications. The committee will meet again on the evening of November 29th. The Committee on Consolidation and Restructuring, Mayor Grabunka and Al McDonald were very gracious to meet with me on November 14th to finalize specifics on our city's major departments and tables of organization. I requested future reporting of all labor positions specific to daily job deployment and accountability. That information making it possible for future for committee meetings to move forward. We'll be looking into the acquisition of computer software to allow real-time reporting as far as all the labor deployment. The Technology Committee met on November 18th. Present were myself, Nancy Gomes from the city, Charles Crane, who takes care of our police IT, and our members from PASCAC, our provider, IT service provider. We had initial meetings to outline and understand our current IT hardware, software, and infrastructure. We've got a lot of great information. Insights on recent improvements and upgrades to the city's IT infrastructure were discussed, and additional upgrades which have been neglected or put off should very well be considered in the near future. We are lagging way behind in that respect. Tree trimming and removal, I have to say that I have to give a lot of credit to the Department of Public Works, Public Properties, whoever was responsible for getting out and cleaning the streets and getting clear. I travel through just about every other municipality going to work every day, and some of the, I mean, they can't stand to Linden as far as tree, all the leaf removal and everything. Linden looks great compared to some of these cities. They're not getting to them until this week, where I see roads blocked off, but they did a fantastic job in the Second Ward. I saw the blower truck out there, and the damage from the snow event, and it's all been cleared for the most part in the ward, and I thank them very much for that. Aggressive parking enforcement continues in the Second Ward. We have 2 more individuals on the beat, and they are really being aggressive and getting out there and issuing summonses to those who are parking illegally, line of sight issues, speeding, etc. I want to thank Councilman Sheehy very much for being so thorough in all of the people that he listed in the Halloween parade, who were involved in the Halloween parade. But just as everybody knows, when anybody goes up, and we see it at all the award shows, they thank everybody except the one who probably needs and deserves the most credit. And I have to say, Jack mentioned Carl and Audrey Pereira. Everybody here, everybody involved did such a great job, and it couldn't have been possible without everybody here. But the person who works here in the city, Gary Luciano, Gary did a phenomenal job. He kind of, when the idea came up, everybody shrugged their shoulders. In fact, the genesis of the whole parade, I think only about 4 months ago, was talking to the mayor on the phone, and he threw an idea out. He says, "What do you think about bringing the parade back?" I said, "We could do it. I'm not going to think twice. We could do it." It was only 3.5, 4 months, and everything came together. A lot of great people, but Gary was the one. He was the point man who spent a lot of time calling the different cities and trying to get volunteers. And what Jack said was absolutely true. You don't need money to put on a parade. You need effort. You need volunteerism, and they're going to come out and do it. And Jack's right. It did not cost a lot of money, so we didn't buy the parade this year. It was a volunteer parade, and it was phenomenal, despite a 6-inch snowstorm 24 hours earlier. And we, everybody was emailing and Facebooking and calling, we're going to have the parade, and the call was made about 8 o'clock in the morning, parade's on. Thank God, it was a beautiful day. But Gary Luciano, thank you very much, and everybody that Jack mentioned, he did a wonderful job in doing that, and Jack, thank you for compiling that list. Again, as everybody mentioned, thank you, congratulations goes out to Derek, Bob, Michelle, Adam, a new member is going to be joining us, and our best to Rich Puchel, 3 years of service with us. You will be sorely missed, and we will keep in touch for sure. And our police recruits, all the best to you guys. Welcome. Hope everything works out. Linden would be proud to have you. End of report.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, Councilman Colibus.
Thank you, Council President. I just have a report from the Construction Code Department. The Construction Code Office has collected $36,873 for the month of October. There are 179 permits issued and 133 certificates. I want to say congratulations to Councilman Armstead, Councilman Sadowski, and Councilwoman Yamakaitis on the re-election, and welcome Councilman-elect Adam Kaczynski. Congratulations to Councilman Pichel. You'll be missed up here. I want to say thank you for DPW for all the work they've done during and after the storm, for the cleanup they do. I know it's a lot of undertaking that you went, so I appreciate all the stuff and all the cleanup that was going on. I want to congratulate the 6 new police recruits that we hired tonight. Good luck and congratulations. And last, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Mayor, you have a report for us this evening?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Again, I'm just pleased that Councilman Sheehy and Councilman Cozio mentioned a bunch of names for the Halloween parade. Everybody pulled together. It was done on a shoestring budget, and I think it was one of the most successful parades we ever had. And that's what makes Linden a community rather than a city, that we have volunteers that spend their time to run Halloween parades or project graduation. And for anybody that would like to assist us so that we could continue to have quality events, please call my office, 474-8493, and volunteer for one of the committees, whether it be the Halloween, the Mayor's Youth Commission, the Cultural Committee. Again, this is what Linden is all about. Also like to announce that the Cultural Committee is having our holiday celebration December 2nd in front of City Hall. It's going to be at 6 p.m. We're going to have a lot of festivities, dance groups, singers from Linden High School, and of course, I've called Santa and I expect him to come, and he promised me he and Mrs. Claus will be here, and once they come, we will light the Christmas tree and also the promenade with the decorations, and then retire to the JTG Center, where you could get a picture taken with Santa Claus and the kids will receive presents. Again, all donated by the Cultural Committee, which is, again, volunteers. I'd also like to congratulate the police candidates. You are candidates yet. You have to pass the medical test, psychological test, and the academy. But I know that we got 5 out of 6 of those candidates are vets, and the other individuals are superior individual also. So I don't foresee any problems, and you're coming into the best police department in Union County, and I wish you a lot of success in your police career. Also, I'd like to congratulate Councilman Armstead, Sadowski, Yamakaitis, and welcome aboard Adam Kaczynski in the 10th Ward. And I wish best of luck to Rich Pichelle, and appreciate the 3 years you put on this city council, assisting in governing our great city. And the end of my report, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to move on to resolutions 2011-343 through 2011-373. Public comments will be permitted on these specific resolutions to be removed from the consent to approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions, which have been prepared by the city clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it.
Mr. President.
I'm going to start on my right. And what number would you like to remove? Thank you.
373.
Mrs. Mallon? 347.
347.
356. 355.
She said 347.
361. 365. In the center? On my left? Yes. 351. 353. 354. Mr. Sharby? 361. So 372. Thank you. Ask for a motion for the remaining resolutions.
I'd like to take off 367.
Yes, table it. Making a motion to table it.
I'd like to make a motion, an official motion, to remove 367 and bring it back revised next month. I seek a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Motion on the remainder.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolutions 2011-343 through 2011-373, with the exceptions of resolutions 351, 353, 354, 347, 355, 356, 361, 363, 365, 369, 372, and 373, and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
No on 346, 348, yes on the rest.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
No on 365. No on 370. Yes to all the rest.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes, but abstain on 370.
Koziel?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Resolution 347, Mrs. Malik.
My question is just for some clarification. What are the types of professionals that we're talking about here, and what are these certain positions also that we're referring to in 347?
347 is what we do annually. It is our list. We send out RFQs for all professional positions, engineers, attorneys, architects, planners, the medical doctors that do the workman's comp, insurance agents, and we qualify them that they've met all the qualifications that the city requires for someone to work for the city. We put together a list, and then as needed or if needed during the year, council then appoints off that list.
Okay, fine, thank you.
If we can use a street term, the vendors, our vendors. Yes. I have a motion on,
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 347 and request a second.
Second. Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
yes. Resolution 351, Patty Murgo. Sort of going in order here.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a quick question on Resolution 351. Actually, it's 351, 53, and 54, because they're all the same question pertaining to the exact same thing. We're paying a municipal prosecutor for November 3rd, 17th, and the 30th on 351. And then on 353, we're paying a different municipal prosecutor for the 17th and the 30th. So the 17th is duplicated there. So do we use two municipal prosecutors in one day?
Different sessions of court.
Different sessions?
One's a day session and one's a night session.
Okay, so the same thing would be with the 354 then when we have it for November 16th. And it's on the, 353 is on the 15th, and also 354 is on the, on the 16th, on both days, on 353 and 354.
Yes.
So that would be the same thing for the two different sessions. Okay, thank you. Answer my question.
Ask for a motion on 351, 353, and 354.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval on resolutions 351, 353, and 354, and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 356, Mrs. Malik, please. 355, please.
For this here, $118,000 seems like a pretty stiff expenditure for these tax appeals. So what I'd like to know is how many appeals have been accommodated by the $118,000?
Resolution that you're questioning, the total's 98,000 year to date. It's 20,000 for a total of 98,000. On that, I've exponentially seen tax court appeals on the commercial properties in town go up by 40% over the last 2 years. We have, I think, a total of 68 outstanding tax appeals at the tax court level currently. some with very sizable assessments on them also. They prepare preliminary reports for negotiation purposes, right? Full-blown appraisal reports for tax court in case we had to go to trial, assist in negotiations on settlement of the tax appeals, and do a lot of research, as far as sales and other, data that's needed to prepare for the trials. It's required by the tax court that you have an independent third party representing a municipality at the tax court level.
Mike.
Thank you. Motion, please, on 355.
Move for approval of Resolution 355 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell. Yes. Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy. Yes. Sadowski.
Yes.
Crosby Hurley.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Colvis.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 356, Virginia Malik.
This is directed to Mr. Frazier. I know I've brought this up quite a bit about expenditures for the landfill. So here I see there's another not to exceed $166,000. I know that you've said in the past that there's legal requirements that we have for monitoring the landfill, but these expenses are constantly coming up. And once before I had asked, is there any cap that we're going to be seeing on this, or these expenses are going to be ongoing, because we have the monitoring requirement and whatnot. So, what's your comment on this?
Thank you. My comments as follows. First of all, this is for the landfill monitoring of the methane. And just to let you know, there's 57 wells there, methane wells, in addition to a flame arrestor too that has to be monitored. This is all part of the ACO, but at the same time too, CME has already alerted the DEP that they feel that some of this monitoring can be canceled because over X number of years we've proven that we are within the tolerances, and that's where we stand right now. But as of right now, DEP has not eliminated us, but they haven't even asked. So this is recent.
Right. So you would also envision like next year to be
I
having
would
some
hope that sometime next year,
six-figure
yes, we could get
analysis
some,
requirements?
we can get some relief from the DEP. And it's basically just showing our paper trail exactly, what we have done, and that there was no exceedance here.
There's no what?
No exceedance.
Okay. All right, fine. Thank you.
Council
Thank you.
President.
Mr. Verchik, is there anything you could add to that?
Yeah, we have an air permit, DEP and EPA, and this, we do quarterly monitoring, some monthly, some semi-annual, some annually, so we're forced to do this.
Council
Please.
President.
When you mentioned, Mr. Frazier, about the wells, so we're capturing all of this gas, and are we sending it into the public grid, or what are we doing with this gas?
You're referring to the 57 wells?
Right.
All right, all 57 wells are tied in right now to the collection area, which is basically a flame arrestor.
So we're just flaring
Yeah, but they
it?
have to be monitored.
Okay, but the gas that's coming out, are we just flaring it, or is it going to go? What's the demise of this gas?
What they have to determine is exactly how much methane is being produced. All right, and the quality.
And they haven't done that yet?
Pardon me?
They haven't done that yet? We haven't assessed how much?
Oh, they have already, but, this is ongoing.
Council
Let me just
President.
ask you,
Council President.
Can I answer that, please?
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
We are in the process, I was talking to Bahram, who's our engineer for the gas extraction, just yesterday, and we are looking at the putting out of requests for proposals to sell that gas to a private distributor, and that's he's formulating a proposal right now.
Do you have the number, or is the number known about how much gas that's coming out of here? I have quite some familiarity with landfills, collecting gas, generating gas and stuff like that, separating it. So what I'd like to know is how much gas is coming out. Is that number, like 1 million cubic feet, 5 million?
He's given me the number, but it escapes me at this moment. We're not going to make millions of dollars off of it. We're going to make a few bucks, but we actually want to turn methane gas into energy, and that's the concept. Again, we're not going to get rich off of it.
Okay. I can maybe follow up with you later on some of this information.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Byrne?
The residents, you bring up a good question. One thing, and again, this is what needs to be addressed next year. It's unclear as far as the landfill. What a lot of people know is, and this is important since you bring it up, the landfill has its own budget. When you look at the back of our municipal budget, there's a utility budget, which is the landfill. And over the last couple of years, there were some funds in there, and I think a couple months ago we voted on bonding. Basically, it's not the same as our regular budget where we raise taxes to appropriate, to offset appropriations. The landfill, I agree with you. I mean, we're throwing money into this, and it's, I don't see where the end is in sight here. Yes. Yes.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 356 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
No.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
No.
Koziel?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 361, Paul Sharp.
Paul Sharpie, reside at 315 Second Avenue, Linden. How many sanitary stores throughout the city does this entail? Number, please. And is this the low bid?
Yes, it was the low bid. This is the first time we've done this in several years because Public Works has a camera truck, but there are certain stores that it's beyond the capability of the truck. It's either very deep or they need a lot more pressure than Public Works has. There's about 12 or 15 siphons around the city where the sewers are just flown by gravity. It goes under either a brook or another sewer, and unless you have a lot of pressure, you can't push those solids up and collect them. So we have to hire somebody to with more capabilities to get rid of all that silt.
Have all these sewers that have to be done, have they been done by the city, all total of them, before this goes out for bid? All sewers that
Not these sewers.
It's only these particular sewers where the camera can't reach?
Yes.
Okay, but all the other ones throughout the city have been taken care of by the Public Works? Answer?
They can be.
Okay. I strongly suggest that they can be. I think they should be done before this goes out for bid. And so these sewers that can be done by Public Works, which is the employees of this city, should be done before this goes out for bid. That's our tax money right there, $49,000, then go out for bid.
Mr.
I think you're not.
Mr. Armstead.
I think you're not hearing this correctly. Mr. Verchek, these are the sewers that cannot be done by the city. That's why we had to go out to this company to do this.
Mr. Armstead, he just told me there's some that haven't been done yet by the Public Works.
Some other sewers, these have not been done by Public Works, and I said they cannot be done.
Oh, they cannot be done?
Mr. President.
Mr. Frazier?
I just want to comment on this, Mr. Schapp.
Yes.
Several of these sewers are in my ward, and I personally was there the day on Rosewood Terrace when Public Works attempted to do the investigating of the sewer. It's down roughly 26 or 28 feet, all right, below the street, and there was a tremendous amount of water velocity there that their equipment just could not handle it. Now, at the same time, we're dealing with people who had their basements flooded because of these sewers backing up. So we have to find out what is causing this interruption. And since our equipment will not accommodate it, we have to go out and get a contractor whose equipment can do so. And that's what it's all about, taking care of people who have problems, period.
Is there any in the first ward, in the vicinity of Second Ave? Because I seem to have a backup coming from it in my home.
I'm sure we can check with that with Public Works, right, Mr. Vendetta? We can put it on to see if that's one that needs to be checked by Public Works or one that we're hiring out for the bid.
Because the reason I say it, because, you know, the ones that come out to the street from the house and everything, and this is the first year that I've had it coming into my home, from the back of my house. I don't know what's causing it, but this is the first year I've had it in my basement. You know, and I was just wondering, you know, it's the first year I've had it into the back of my home. Before I had to go out and have someone come in who base my whole thing. My home's been there since 1975 with my stepfather, and this is the first year that I've entailed that. I know that whether it's been the overabundance of rain that we had, but this is the first year I've had sea beach coming in from the back of my home.
Well,
Whether it's coming from the
they'll
street behind me or what.
be able to talk with Mr. Verchik, and will you look into it for him? Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's all I have on that, but.
Very good. Pat Hero for 361.
I just want to say that the ones that can be done by DPW should be done by DPW, but the ones that can't definitely should be put out to bid, and I think it should be accepted now, because this is a serious problem for those homeowners who are being affected. And of course, we have problems with an aging sewer system as it is, and of course, the sewer system was constructed in an age when Linden was not as congested and didn't have as many multifamily dwellings as they do now. So I think this is a necessity, and I approve the spending of this money. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Malik, 361. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 361 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes, as long as it doesn't come back with a change order over that 49,000 and change.
Frazier.
That's a fixed price.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Colvin.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Pat Hero on 363.
Is this a bill affecting in the New Jersey legislature?
Mr. Hudak.
It's Senate bill.
Yes, it is. There's attempts to change the current system-wide franchise by which the city collects fees for the cable TV system, and we use it for improvements to our broadcast and stuff, and Verizon had successfully gotten around it, and now the cable companies are looking to do the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Hudak, if someone would have Comcast and they would switch to Verizon, we would lose?
Currently, we get a fee from Comcast per user. If they switch to Verizon, we get no fee.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval for Resolution 363 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Abstain.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Kalbas?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 365, Virginia Malik, please.
Can someone just explain, what is this resolution all about?
Mr. Roth?
The LSA, the Linden Supervisors Association, we filed with PERC. They would get out some of the supervisors that were, well, people that were in the unit that shouldn't have been in the unit. The Public Employment Relations Commission split the unit up, and this is clarifying some of the positions that were erroneously left off the list by PERC. So it's just listing where certain titles go in which unit, which bargaining unit.
Okay. And when you're talking about the Linden Supervisors Association, that's just the municipality, has nothing to do with like the Board of Ed, it's...
Right, no, this is the Linden, we have a bargaining unit here called the Linden Supervisors Association.
Okay.
And they're the people that are
Gotcha.
below, okay.
Good, all right, thanks.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 365 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
No.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Kalbas?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero, 369.
Okay, I would imagine that calling for modification to land use approvals because of changed economics. But what exactly is the nature of this?
Mr. Hudak?
The proposed bill would essentially remove from the local boards the jurisdiction over developments. In other words, if you got your development approval in 2006 or before, or you're in foreclosure, and you come and plead change economic conditions, and you want to put an apartment building in the middle of a one-family zone, it essentially removes the city's jurisdiction from stopping you, which is the complete opposite of what proper land use planning is.
Oh, yes, this sounds very, very bad, and I think I agree with this resolution opposing this. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 369 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Abstain.
Kozio?
Yes.
Kalbas?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 372, Paul Sharpie.
Here we are with the prosecutor, assistant prosecutor again. The only thing on this resolution with the assistant prosecutor and everything, I hope this council for the next budget would have a prosecutor and an assistant prosecutor budgeted in the 2012-2013 budget, a salary of $135,000 for both of them. So that every month we don't have to have the same thing happen. And it seems that throughout this whole budget year, it's been the same thing every month. A requirement for this court system to have a prosecutor and an assistant prosecutor in the absence of the prosecutor. The court is a 3-day court now, and most likely throughout the year 2012, we could have the same thing. And I hope with the new council member, he's hearing me now, and he'll be here for the budget to vote on the next budget. Am I correct, sir? He'll be on the next budget vote. And I hope that everyone is listening. The next budget, there'll be a budget for 2 prosecutors, prosecutor and his assistant. Same with the public defender. It all goes under the same judicial part of the budget. And that's what I have to talk about on this.
Councilwoman Cosby Hurley.
Thank you, Mr. Shoppy, for your comments. In addition to having the steady prosecutors, I'd like to see our court have, like we had tried in the earlier of the year, maybe have 2 steady judges so we don't have to continue to flip-flop back and forth. But that's going to take some, I guess, negotiation with the mayor and the incoming council. So, but thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 372 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Kalbas?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 373, Pat Hero.
I just want to clarify before I get started on 373, the fact that I do agree with you on the resolution, and I do oppose those bills. Just want to make that perfectly clear. Now on 373, I want to say that I think this is a great idea, and I hope that we have more shared services agreements with the Linden Board of Education whenever possible, particularly when it, not in this case, I don't believe, because obviously they're going to be paying the city, and you both get your money from us taxpayers. But in other circumstances where it has the ability to also lower our property taxes, this would be a great thing with more shared services. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution number 373 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
No.
Kozio?
Yes.
Kalbas?
Abstain.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. All right, going to move into ordinance on first reading. Number 5554, Mr. Clerk.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 7-27, bus stops shall be amended as follows. Add to Section 7-27A, East Linden Avenue eastbound, at a location beginning at a point 180 feet east of the east curb line of Southwood Avenue, extending 150 feet easterly therefrom. The hours are 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., Monday through Friday.
Motion. Anybody wish to make any comments on 5554? 7. Motion, please.
Council President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 5554 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Mr. Brown is left.
He's been excused for a moment.
Mr. Cosio?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5555.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 7-33, Handicap Parking, shall be amended as follows. 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Add 913 McCandless Street, 1 space. 501 Union Street, 1 space. 411 Washington Avenue, 1 space. Delete 119 East Curtis Street, 1 space. And 338 Miltonia Street, 1 space.
Comments? Motion, please.
Yes, I'd like to introduce ordinance number 55 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Has everybody had an opportunity to sign the sign-in sheet? Mr. Lodick has that. It's over there.
these while they sign? Want me to go on to 5556 while they're signing?
5556.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing city clerk, police chief, fire chief, public works superintendent, city engineer, municipal treasurer, construction code official, superintendent of public property to be paid for holiday time in lieu of appropriate time off, passed March 7th, 1978, and approved March 8th, 1978, and be amended as follows and supplemented. Section 1, that the above entitled ordinance shall be, and the same is hereby amended and supplemented as follows. Delete City Clerk Joseph C. Bodek, Police Chief Michael Boyle, Fire Chief Joseph Rizzo, Public Works Superintendent John Messler, City Engineer George Verchick, Municipal Treasurer Alexis Zack, Construction Code Official Thomas Caverly, Superintendent of Public Property Al McDonald. Add City Clerk, Police Chief, Fire Chief, Public Works Superintendent, City Engineer, Municipal Treasurer, Construction Code Official, and Superintendent of Public Property.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction of ordinance 5556 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Abstain.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Everybody had an opportunity to sign the sheet? Okay. The following,
No, I have more, I have 5557.
would you read that, please?
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Linden amending ordinance number 5023, adopted April 11th, 2006, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Linden authorizing the transfer of real property tax exemption and payments in lieu of taxes for property known as Block Number 40, lots number 19, 20, 27, 29, and 20, and a vacated portion of Passaic Avenue pursuant to the long-term tax exemption law, NJSA 40A:20-1 at sequence, from Linden Housing Authority Corporation to Mongol Corporation, and to authorize an amendment to the financial agreement.
Motion, please.
Mr. President, I ask that we introduce ordinance number 55-57, and I seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Yes. 5558.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 31 zoning of the ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. The synopsis is listed below.
Motion.
Mr. President, I ask for introduction for ordinance 55-58 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5559.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Establishing a Schedule of Titles, Salary Ranges, and Regulations for Maintaining the Classification and Salary Standardization Plan of all employees of the City of Linden, passed August 15th, 1995, and approved August 16th, 1995, 4GG Salary Ordinance 2012.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for introduction of ordinance 5559 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
No.
Koziel?
No.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. We'll take comments from the members in the public in attendance on city business only. No personal, political, or derogatory comments. And Pat Hero, would you come up, please? Virginia Malik.
My comment is directed to Mr. Hudak. It seems like every time, at every city council, in the resolution, there's somewhere between 6 or 3 and 6 resolutions for additional funding for prosecutors. What I'd like to know is, do we have a total, a running total, as of, let's say, for up until November, how much money has been requested, and actually how much of that money has been used? Because usually it'll say like $900 or up to like $900. Do we have that figure,
I'd have
or
to
two
get-
figures?
I'd have to get the running total from my office. I don't have it offhand. Again, this is unusual with these prosecutors, because we added extra sessions.
Wait, baby, I can hear you.
We added extra sessions to the court.
Right.
So that's why we're having the extra prosecutors, otherwise we wouldn't be having them. But if you want to stop by my office, I'll get that running total for you. I just
For
don't
this
have
year.
it offhand.
I'd be interested, but do you have like a rough idea? Is it maybe $20,000?
I
You don't
wouldn't,
have any-
I wouldn't,
okay.
right now, I just wouldn't venture a guess off the top
Okay.
of my head. It's,
Fine, I'll
Yeah.
see. Thank you.
Cynthia Cosby Woods.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a question. I live on Wheat Sheaf Road, and this is, I guess, for the police chief. Washington and St. George's Avenue. It's not a day that goes by, if I'm coming out the side of Washington, if somebody flies through that light by Melrose, and I'm wondering if maybe they can kind of maybe watch that a little bit and maybe make the light a little longer, because I think that it changes so quick that they, you know.
That's a state highway, ma'am. We have no control of it. That's up to the state.
It's, you know, someone got killed there.
Yes.
You know, and I always tell my kids, just hold up another second or two until you see the cars line up. But that's just something that needs to be made public, I think. Also, this gentleman was talking about his curb. A couple of years ago, my curb had to be replaced. And when they replaced it, they shut off the pipes. Now, who's responsible for that? Because I didn't even put that together about my basement getting wet until he just said that.
Talking about the gutter?
You know, the curb pipe, you know, when it rains, it was hooked to the gutters of the house,
Yeah,
and
and
it
it
shoots
comes
out
up
into the
underneath.
street. Now it has nowhere to go. It's going straight down, it's coming up underneath.
Mr. Verchik?
You're saying the city replaced the curb?
Yeah,
What's the address?
1108 Wheat Sheaf Road.
Okay, we'll check it out tomorrow.
Okay. That'll be it. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you. Paul Sharpie.
Pat is back.
For the record, Pat Hero.
Okay, here by popular demand. My name is Pat Hero. I live on Wheat Sheaf Road. As you know, my tradition this is usually for this month the Thanksgiving speech. And as I was looking at the schedule, the calendar, I saw the date that this speech would be given, and I froze. 48 years ago, we lost President John F. Kennedy, and it was a stunning moment in American history. And Adlai Stevenson said it best: "We will remember the day of his death until the day of ours." And so I do, and so I will. So I like to dedicate this to actually two men. One is President John F. Kennedy, who inspired me and so many others in this country and around the world in public service. And the other one is a friend of mine who I quoted at this thing, an African-American journalist from the Washington Post. I used this quote, and it's a great quote, especially when it comes to politicians. He said, "Don't believe the hype." And he left us far too soon at the age of 54. And you always think that there's going to be time and you're going to see somebody again. The fact is, we never know. And so I always like to give a Thanksgiving speech. And when I do, encourage people that you care about and tell them that you care about, because you never know when you're not going to see them again. I'm sorry. Anyway, although much is taken, as Tennyson said, much abides. And so now I will give my Thanksgiving speech. There are so many city employees to thank. So I wanted to say, I really appreciate the services of the following city employees. Our tax collector, Stacy Karen. She has been enormously helpful. Our tax assessor, Michael Frangella, who has been very generous with information. Brian Fritchie and the Linden Board of Zoning Adjustment, and also all the people who turned out and spoke in the battle against the condos on Moore Place. I so admire any citizen who stands up and speaks out for what they believe in. John Messler, Dennis Kobe, and the entire people at DPW, they are my people. I want to thank Al McDonald. I want to thank Chief Sal Pavona from the police department and Chief Joseph Rizzo from the fire department. I want to thank Alexis Zach. I want to thank Marissa from the Board of Health. I'd like to thank Marilyn Coplin, and of course, it just wouldn't be a Thanksgiving speech without thanking Joe Bodek and the wonderful people in the city clerk's office. Now, and it's just give me a little bit more time here so I can get in all the council members, or I might just have to leave some out. I'd like to thank Mayor Grabunka for vetoing the ordinance that have taken the power away from the council president, and I also like to thank him for vetoing the ordinance that was voted upon tonight to override the veto. I thoroughly agree with the mayor's veto, and I am so glad that the ordinance wasn't overridden. I want to thank Council President Moore for allowing people to speak during ordinances on first reading, and also during the finance and personnel report. While we may not take advantage of that necessarily, believe me, we do appreciate the opportunity to speak on that. I'd like to thank my councilman, Christopher Colibus. We had some great talks during the National Night Out. And also, I want to thank him for his support against the condos on Moore Place. I asked for his support, and he came out and represented. So thank you. I want to thank Councilman Koziel for his help with the trivia contest. I'd like to thank Peter Brown, Councilman Peter Brown, for doing service with the DPW, riding on the back of garbage trucks, seeing how the jobs are done in Linden. Good, I appreciated that. I'd like to thank Councilman Armstead. One of my most exciting moments last year in the council was when you had the people from Pop Warner turn out. That's a leader, when they answer, when they give a call and the people respond. I'd like to thank Councilwoman Cosby Hurling for one of the most interesting moments, actually, when you said something about things being personal and then wish people happy birthdays. As a fellow people who appreciates birthdays, I appreciate you acknowledging people's birthdays. Want to thank Councilman Sadowski for being so nice, helpful, and giving aid to a transportationally challenged individual.
1 minute.
Okay? Sorry about that. I want to thank Councilman Jack Sheehy. When he mentioned all the volunteers, he left out one very, very important person, himself. The fact is that he's one of the greatest volunteers that the city of Linden has. You know, the Bible says that those who compare themselves with others aren't wise, and I know why they say that. Because when I start comparing myself with Councilman Sheehy, I say, well, maybe I'm better than him in one area, and maybe I might be as equal to him in another. And then he shoots so far out in front of me that I just go back to that saying about the Bible. Those who compare themselves with others aren't wise, so just stop it. You're not going to, he's just great. You can just look at him as a role model, but you're probably never going to, you know, even equal him. So just enjoy him, and we should in the city of Linden. And he also has a magnificent capacity for learning, growing, and developing, and I do appreciate that. I want to thank Councilwoman Yamakaitis for offering me a ride. I want to thank Councilman Frazier. He's the most respected man on this council, and he has been through a lot this year, having to deal with some of the things we've seen at the council, and he's always been the height of professionalism. And of course, I'd like to thank Councilman Rich Pichelle. I will so miss you about the Board of Education, and I can only hope that Mr. Kaczynski can take up that mantle of trying to find the waste and the excess in the Board of Education and continue on in that, because believe me, there does seem to be a lot there, and that needs to be changed. So thank you for your service, and also I have to thank all the candidates who were outscored in the election. Remember, you have a tremendous amount to give to the city. Even if you don't get paid for it, you can come to the podium, you can go to meetings, you can volunteer. Just because you didn't get elected doesn't mean you don't have something worthwhile to contribute. And congratulations to those of you who were elected. Thanks for your time, and a very happy Thanksgiving, one and all, and thanks to all the people who put out inflatable turkeys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Paul Sharpie.
Mr. Sharpie, 315 2nd Avenue, Linden. I had a chance to meet John F. Kennedy at the age of 7. I sat on his lap, and he was a great man, if you knew him. My father spent boot camp with him in the Great Lakes. He was a great man, John F. Kennedy. I remember that snowy day in January 20th, 1960. He was sworn in, the President of the United States. He started out, just like everyone in front of my eyes today, he started out as a local city councilman, and he went on. And his reality came on very quickly. He went from council to Congress, boom, 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 all within a matter of 10 years. You know, I've been in county government up in Schuylkill County, and in that year too, he stopped in Frackville, Pennsylvania, and he journeyed on through Pennsylvania. And he made a name for himself. His father was a great man. He brought the liquor over from Ireland and all that. We all know about that. But, you know, I've learned to work with this all year long. You know, we have our arguments. We're all the same party or independents and all that. But as a council and mayor and everything, we must work together in 2012. We all live here. We all work here. And we must unite as one team throughout the city. No bickering, fighting, or all that. It's not about that. It's about keeping our taxes down, keeping everything down so communities could work together and stay together, you know? And the only big thing that, the big objective I have is foot patrols, to bring them back. We discussed it in the back, and especially now the holiday season, you know, things are pretty rough out there. You know, kids could be stealing, walking in our stores downtown here. You know, even for the holiday season, if we can have foot patrols just for half a shift, and especially during the rush hours in the afternoon and in the morning, you know, so we don't have to lose another person. And then maybe with the new recruits coming in, maybe their first year, they could be on full patrol for the first year and bring it back the way it used to be here, and then do foot patrols and all like that. And I love working with this, and I hope with God's will that we can work together and have a prosperous 2012 and the taxes could stay down. You know, the governor asked us to put it at 2%, and I hope we can stay at that. And that's all I have to talk about.
Thank you. Judy Miller.
Good evening. Judy Miller, 542 Fernwood Terrace. I'm glad Mr. Sharpie brought up the sewers. I have something to read here. Stormwater Management Plan. On January 5th, 2004, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection adopted a stormwater regulation which requires the City of Linden to comply with the requirements of a Tier A municipal stormwater permit. In accordance with this permit, the City of Linden, the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, Stormwater Management Plan, and a Stormwater Control Ordinance. Sweeping, raking, blowing, or otherwise placing yard waste that is not containerized at the curb or along the street is only allowed during 7 days prior to a scheduled announced collection and shall not be placed closer than 10 feet from any storm drain. The owner or occupant of any property or any employee or contractor of the same engaged to provide lawn care or landscaping services shall not sweep, rake, blow, or otherwise place yard waste unless the yard waste is containerized in the street. This I got from the City of Linden Engineering Department. This is the permit, which classifies us as a Tier A. A yard waste collection program shall include the adoption and enforcement of an ordinance prohibiting the placing of yard waste closer than 10 feet from any storm sewer inlet along the street unless they are bagged or otherwise containerized. The frequency of pickups shall be determined at the discretion of a Tier A municipality, but must be part of a set yard waste collection schedule, which is noticed to all municipal residents and businesses. Mr. Verchek? Can you explain this to me? I don't understand it, because I don't see any of this being done. None of it. And I, like a lot of other people, have trouble with the sewers backing up. And that muck you're talking about is probably leaves. It's not a breakdown of leaves and branches and pumpkins, and what else they see today? Corn husks and mums in the street. And that's on Fernwood Terrace. So anybody wants to ride down, they can see it.
Well, A, that stuff doesn't get into the sanitary sewers, that stays on the street, so. Public Works has said many times that they cannot do leaf pickup on schedule. And I will have the Public Works foreman talk about that. The stuff you did mention, it is in our permit. The DEP inspects us every year, and every year we comply in their eyes, so we get no fines, we get no violations.
Are they coming to inspect this year?
Usually they come in April or May.
Oh, and there's no leaves?
Talk to the governor.
Well, I did speak to the state today, and I spoke to a caseworker. And the City of Linden is not in compliance. There's not supposed to be loose leaves in our streets unless there's a scheduled pickup for them. They can't be there 7 days prior to a scheduled pickup when they're loose leaves. Otherwise, they need to be containerized.
Again, I can't speak to that because I'm not in Public Works.
Okay, well, who can answer it? Somebody has to be able to answer it. This I got off engineering.
Councilwoman?
Miss Judy,
Yes,
before
ma'am.
before the foreman comes over, so that we don't go around and around and around, let me recommend and suggest that possibly you have a conversation with Mr. Messler, because ultimately he makes the decision, and he has made the decision to pick up or not to pick up the leaves. I know that there's a scheduling conflict and some equipment issues, but ultimately the leaves were picked up in the 10th Ward today, but they had not been picked up.
Oh, man,
I know
not on
you
my
live there,
street.
so.
Not on the streets where I walk my dog,
Yeah.
they weren't picked up.
It's
In the
hard,
10th
it's
Ward.
hard, and I would hate for us to get a fine, and I just would say that if there's a person in the management capacity who is knowingly violating, then the fine should be passed on to them. Just like for council, if we knowingly violate, the rules when it comes to budget formation, we're held liable financially. So, I mean, it's just something it's unfair to you guys because you live there, and then it ultimately is going to affect us all.
Yeah, but it affects everybody. If we're supposed to have a schedule to put loose leaves in the street, and they can't be there longer than 7 days before pickup, don't we need a schedule for them to be picked up all over the city, not just in the 10th Ward?
You're going to hear that it's going
Okay.
to be hard to do a schedule. So again, I'm recommending that you do speak to
But
the
it's in the
superintendent.
permit. I don't
know.
care if
And
it's
it's public.
hard.
It's on the website. I know.
Okay. Go ahead.
We spoke with the DEP also, and we asked them about the enforcement. They said it's largely unenforceable.
John, can you talk into the mic? Nobody could hear.
Sure.
And introduce yourself, please.
My name's John Venditto, General Supervisor, Public Works.
Thanks.
We did speak with the DEP also. It is a largely unenforceable. If we were talking about unnatural materials as opposed to natural materials, where we have, obviously, we have a place to pick them up and to compost them. We asked them about their enforcement. They said they do not have the capabilities to enforce every municipality in the state, and they would not be enforcing this. We did tell them that we, of course, have a leaf program set up, maybe not a schedule, but a program. They were satisfied with that. Okay, well, that is what John Messer told me when he told me he called them in response to this. Well, I just want you to know that that's, and it's not necessarily to say that every municipality does this, so we do, but the way we set it up for all collection, it's been historically this way, and even though yeah, I know, the stormwater regulations have changed, it's pretty, I think we may have found out just how hard taking leaves out of this curb line are, so we try and be through every ward as much as possible. We can't set up a definite structure for a schedule. We have a program, and we were told that having a leaf collection program would suffice.
They told me there had to be, for loose leaves in the street, there had to be a schedule. It couldn't be there more than 7 days.
Okay. Well, the terminology that we had between them was, obviously, we're talking about two words that whoever, I do believe Mr. Messer did go and speak to the highest official he could, that he could get on the phone. I can't tell you who it was, I don't
Council
remember.
President.
But I know that because we have a program in place and we're not intending to leave them any longer than, we come around. We have this time of year when they all hit the ground, that's about the only time when it's really, well, some of them, we've been trying to pick them up as much as we can.
Mr. Brown.
I just want to make a suggestion. I mean, this is what I'm hearing. You're reading what the state statute says, or DEP regulation, and then versus what we have in the ordinance. And I'll be honest with you, reading our ordinance, there are some things that don't comply with this state, not just this, other issues as well. What, if we can, so that we can get past this, can we have, John, if you can look to see if we're in compliance with the state? I think it's just better if our attorney talks to, I guess, whoever with the state, make sure our language in our ordinance matches whatever the state regulation is. I mean, because we have to abide by what the state says. I think by having our attorney look at it, and if he says we're in compliance, I think maybe that settles it.
Yeah, we'll review that, Councilman.
I'm sorry?
We'll review that, Councilman.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Council President, just to let you know, online, they have a template that the city could fill out and just include their name in it, similar to what you have here.
Thank you.
Good evening. Sue Hudak, 16 Robinwood Terrace. First off, I would like to thank the Public Works Department and the police officers and everybody that helped clear all that snow the day of the Halloween parade. They did a great job throughout the city. I live on Robinwood Terrace, and we have a situation with cars that are on our block, and I am the first house in right off of Wood Avenue. We have a lot of parking on our streets that are not the immediate neighbors' parking, not the residents that live on Robinwood. And it's also Melrose and several of the other blocks, the first part of the block from Wood Avenue. Last year, when the snow fell in December, the last week, I guess it was a day after Christmas, we had a lot of problems getting our services, which we pay for, snow plowing, garbage pickup, and God forbid if there was an emergency, we couldn't even get a fire truck down our street. Because of the way the people had parked on the street, the residents of Roselle from the apartments park on our street. I'm very, very aware of the fact that many people are more than a one-car family. However, we should be allowed to get in and out of our driveways in case of bad weather. We should be able to get garbage pickup, and it was no fault of Public Works, but it's the problem from the residents that live across the street. Thursday's Thanksgiving, having company at my house. My company could very well be parking on the next block further down on Robinwood because there is no parking in front of my house. We have taxi cabs, school buses that park, that'll be there over a 4-day period. What I'm kind of asking, because I realize that permit parking hasn't been afforded to that area of 9-4 of the 9th Ward, perhaps maybe during an emergency situation, like a snowstorm, maybe that we could remove cars, require the residents to either have permit parking during an emergency, or perhaps require them to put their cars in the driveway. There was one storm that came, and then you had a robocall, a reverse 911 call that came to the house. My neighbors laughed at the call. You asked us to remove our cars off the street. None of our cars were on the street. It was the people that lived in the town across the street. Perhaps maybe this council might be able to consider some way to recognize our needs also. Emergency services, especially that ice storm, when they were parked, and I really kind of thought when it was a long time ago, so maybe there were some changes in the driver's manual, but you had to park 50 feet away from a stop sign. They were parked in the stop sign. At the corner, there is a fire hydrant. They were parked at that fire hydrant. And that ice on the street couldn't be cleared because no truck could get down there. A fire truck couldn't get down there. So I'm asking for my neighbors and for me if something can be done to rectify that situation. So when we have bad weather, we can get in and out of our street and be safe. The other thing is when you have wet leaves and ice, Wood Avenue is a major intersection. You slide. And that's not a good thing, especially when you have to creep out all the way onto Wood Avenue to see if oncoming traffic is coming. So I ask for your consideration.
Thank you. Chief, do we have on the books no parking overnight for trucks?
Yes.
And is there any way we could have some relief up there, possibly with the police, to check some traffic, parking, fire hydrants, yellow
We'll
curbs?
start that tonight, dear Council President.
Council President?
Mr. Brown.
I think also, one of the things, with the ordinance we passed 55-53, that had to do with like emergency no parking. One of the purposes of us passing that was that, I guess, our parking enforcement, they should be able to issue tickets as well, not just the police officers, correct, Chief? So I'm assuming then, maybe now, if we know that this is an area, I guess the argument was the police officers couldn't always get there. We have the parking enforcement. Now that under this ordinance, maybe they can look into that. I think that was at 10 of 55-53.
Is that possible, use our parking enforcement officers?
Yes, it is. They'll be out there tomorrow.
Lisa Oman.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Ormond, 901 Summit Street. Good evening, Council President Moore,
Good evening.
Mayor Bunka, and our council. First, I'd like to congratulate Councilwoman Michelle Yamakaitis, Councilman Robert Sadowski, my brother Derek Armstead, on your win, and also Councilman-elect Adam Krasinski on your win. Mr. Michelle, I would like to wish you well. Thank you for serving the City of Linden for the last 3 years. I do know it's hard work, and once again, when you do put your neck out for the public, you do become victimized a lot, but we do thank you for all of your support and your years of service. I just hope that you continue to work with the new councilman, as well as the people that did not win the elections. Please work with your council people. When you work together, there are no losers. The community wins big time. The second thing I'd like to say is that we forgot to mention that the Pop Warner Pee Wee football team is also competing for the Garden State Championship this Saturday at Rutgers. So we have 2 outstanding teams on our Pop Warner that have reached a level of success that has never been achieved before in the city of Linden. So we would like just to wish them well, just like we're wishing the cheerleaders well. The third thing, I'd like to thank Councilman Colibus for responding to my crazy call last week. I'm going to complain again about Summit Street and Gessner, the death trap, as I call it. It's a freeway for cars just go excessively up and down that particular road, speeding. And in the last 5 years that I've lived there have been 3 cars on my front lawn, and there's been a car on my neighbor's front lawn. And for the most part, we come home from work and we find, okay, it happened. We just see the remnants of it. Our lawns are pretty much messed up. But last week, sitting in my family room, I hear screeching tires, and this time a car didn't land up on someone's front lawn. It literally landed smack into their house. The gas lines were severed. PSE&G spent a couple of hours out there trying to restore the gas to this particular family. I'm now afraid for my children to even play in front of my house. It was that bad. I mean, I was so shook up. Because had the car landed on my front lawn, there were 5 children, ranging from the age of 15 down to the age of 7, that were out on the front playing tag and playing on their Razor scooters that day. And it was just frightening to see a car literally pinned up against somebody's house, and that you could smell the gas because the gas line was severed. So Mr. Colibus has been ever so kind as to request a study on that corner that will consist of back data to let me know how many accidents have been on that corner. And he's going to try to get me some quantitative information that's going to let me know what is that magic number that we have to have that's going to get a 4-way stop sign on that corner before a child is hurt. I'm also wanted to bring up that in the mornings, it is total chaos on that particular corner, with the parents dropping their kids off for school. People just don't seem to understand what the right-of-way is. When you have the stop sign, you stop. The other cars go through. Whether there's 50 or whether there's 10, they go through. So we need police presence there, maybe only for a half an hour in the morning, but it's crazy between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, to the point where I'm thankful that I leave much earlier than that. And then lastly, we do have a speed, or I guess it's a speed detector that's at the beginning of Summit Street, Gessner Street, and I want to thank Chief Bavona for having that put there. Unfortunately, it worked only one day, and it hasn't been working since. It's also not really effective because it's 20 feet from the corner. That's not the spot where the speed demons pick up their speed. They usually get about a block, and then they gun it. So we're not going to really pick up too many speeders within the first 20 feet as they turn that corner onto Gessner Street. So if we could possibly move it, and just to recap, move it that sign, getting a traffic coordinator on that corner, and then definitely get me some quantitative numbers based on that study, because it is just getting very, very dangerous. Like I said, once again, I don't feel safe with my children playing out in front of my house anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Council conference meeting Monday, December 19, 2011 at 6 p.m. at the Council Conference Room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting Tuesday, December 20, 2011 at 6 p.m. in the Council Conference Room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting December 20, 2011 at 7 p.m. in the Council Chambers City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Mr. Purcell. Frazier.
Yes.
Yes.
Yamikaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Zadowski.
Yes.
Crosby Harling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown. Koziel.
Yes.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
How are you?
I don't want to see
you.
You got headshots? You got headshots?
Thank you so much.